Alright, when we think 1920s, we think boom time, right? The economy is blowing up. That's my explosion. We think boom time. We think the roaring 20s. So think of a big lion, which I can't actually draw, so I won't try. But the 1920s is booming. It's roaring. And so we want to think of why is the 1920s boom time? What is going on at this time? Think about production. We've got cars out there. They looked different back then, so you could say that's a pretty good car for the time. Cars. Who was doing the cars? Who was building a lot of cars at the time? That's right. You've got Ford, Henry Ford. And Ford brought a new kind of production to cars. What was he doing? Here's a hint. That's right, it's a line. What did they do on the line? It was the assembly line. Think about what the assembly line was. What did each person do? If you guessed each person has one job, you would be correct. Each person is doing one specific thing, and they're dividing the labor up. So everyone's really good at one thing, and the line moves along quickly. Everything is being produced more quickly. So that creates the cycle of prosperity. So let's look at how that impacted the economy as a whole and how that made cash for everybody. Boom. So we got the 1920s. We're over here with Henry Ford. We increase production, right? He uses more automation in his practices, right? And as he introduces more machines and automation and the division of labor with the assembly line, that increased production leads to more workers and higher wages, because if you're going to make more stuff, you need more workers, and if you're doing well, then you can pay them better, right? So we're paying the workers better. Now the workers are getting higher wages, so what are they going to do with all that money? Sure, they might put it away in a savings account, but more than likely they're going to spend some of it. So the workers, boom, are spending more money. And as the workers spend more money, we have more sales. But the workers aren't just buying his cars. The workers spending this money are buying everything, right? Think about the new inventions of the time. You've got TV, you've got radio, you've got advertising. All of those things come into play with the sales. So cars and automation, the assembly line, are increasing production, but then remember that they adopt those techniques in other industries as well. Other industries adopt those automation techniques to increase their production, pay their workers more. So everyone's spending more and everyone's buying more stuff. Remember, this is the start of American consumerism as well. Remember, consumerism is when we're buying lots of stuff. We want lots of stuff, material items, material things, right? And people are also using credit. So they're buying extra stuff with money that isn't even theirs. But this feeds itself. It's like a machine that once it gets going, once this wheel and cycle goes, it just continues on its own, right? So this creates the cycle of prosperity that is the 1920s. Prosperity, remember, wealth, doing well, things are good, people are prosperous, right? And that typifies the 1920s. Remember, because some of this is based on credit, we know what happens at the end of the 1920s, because this boom, this prosperity, can't last forever, especially if it's not sustainable, especially if it's based off of credit. So while this, yes, creates a cycle of prosperity, if you don't do it the right way, or if you're not careful about the methods that you use, it can lead to problems. And we do see that, and we will look at that more as we look at the 1930s. Alrighty, that is all.